My name is Mackenzie Williams, and I am a junior at Providence College. This video will be an evaluation of a class I'm currently enrolled in called Oral Communications Building Competence. I initially took this course because I needed to fill an oral proficiency requirement in order to graduate, but I liked the aspect of the class that it was geared towards social work, and I'd always been interested in social work, and I'd taken a social work class in my past years here, and it was great, phenomenal. So I decided that this one would probably be similar to the last. I'd also had Dr. Madison in the past, and even if the course wasn't as interesting as I'd hoped it'd be, at least I'd have a professor that I know I can vibe with and who would be invested in my learning just like, I am. So that was a big important factor to me. When I first went into the class, I didn't really know what to expect just because, like a normal college student, I didn't actually read the course description. It fit with my schedule, and it's got this great teacher, and so that was enough for me. I was sold. But then she emailed us the required reading list, and there was a book on emotional intelligence quota, and I remember learning about that term in psychology and how important it is when you interact with people. And so I thought this course would be good in helping me learn how to better interact with people, and not even just in a career but in life in general. So that made me real excited about the course to start. After having been in the course for a month, it has far exceeded my expectations. The unique dynamic that we share with our peers, that we were able to create an atmosphere where everyone is comfortable not only giving feedback, but receiving it and accepting it and not taking it as a criticism, but helping each other grow and being constructive, which I think is really important in these type of things because it is a communications class. So for us to not only know how to express the way we are perceiving another person, but be able to take in how other people are perceiving us and not add any emotional bias to it or get offended by it, which people have the tendency to do. We don't do that in this class, which is really good. Some of the speech habits I struggled with early on in the semester that I identified were speaking too softly and doing a lot of distracting gestures, rambling, and not really addressing a group when speaking to a group, more just picking a person within the group and making them my point of focus. And I also tend to speak too quickly. Some of the exercises we've done in this class, particularly the children's story, helped a whole lot with the talking too fast aspect of it. It also forced me to speak with a lot more variety in my voice and a lot more expression. And Dr. Madison actually, to fix the soft speaking issue I had, encouraged me to shout at random points, and it helped, even though initially it was very uncomfortable. It was probably one of the more uncomfortable things I've had to work on, just because who randomly likes to shout? But with shouting, it made it easier for me to become comfortable with hearing my voice at a higher tone. And this course has helped me realize all of the ways in which people can err in communicating. And so since I'm cautious of that, and through the readings and through the feedback I've gotten in class, it's helped me be more confident on the things that I do well and the things that I don't do well and need to improve of. And even though I'm proud of the progress, I still have a long way to go. So for the second half of semester, I think I want to continue building confidence and work on speaking in front of large groups more naturally, just because when addressing a larger group, there's a lot more things going on in your mind when you're standing in front of a crowd and there's a lot of people with their eyes on you and a lot of ways that you feel like you could be perceived differently, and that can mess up the message you're trying to convey. One of the readings actually talked about how we shouldn't stay in our heads so much. And speaking of the readings, I think one of the readings that spoke to me the most was the one we did on assertiveness and how important it is to be direct with your message, because I said before that I tend to ramble, and I'm probably the only person in the world that overuses transition words. So the reading on assertiveness kind of made it clear that it's important not only to be direct, but when you are direct, you come across as more considerate because you had to go out of your way to make sure that what you're saying is still genuine but not fluffed. And I think that's more beneficial and constructive for both parties, really. And so that's something that just really resonated with me. And among the other exercises we've done in class, I really like the 60-second commercial that we had to do. So the assignment was basically to find a creative way to display a product within a limited time constraint, and it really forced me to think outside the box and get creative and keep energy up in my voice for a whole 60 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was. And the feedback I got on that was great and really eye-opening. So that was a good exercise for me. I think the immediate feedback is one of my favorite aspects of the class, just because after a person performs, they usually tend to analyze their performance for hours, days, as long as it takes them to process afterwards. But in this class, we don't really get the chance to do that. Like, I can't be in my head and criticizing myself and beating myself up for everything I think I did wrong or everything I think I did right, because as soon as I finish, there's a room full of people who have just witnessed me do a presentation, and they're ready to provide me with that constructive feedback that I needed, which is really good. And I also like that all of our assignments have rubrics attached to them, so that we have a clear-cut idea of what is expected of us and how we should be trying to mold our presentation and the way we should deliver it. I think one of the drawbacks with verbal feedback, though, is that after a while it can get redundant if you hear someone else's take on the presentation you just saw. It influences how you yourself will provide your own feedback. So I think by using written rubrics and writing down feedback, like we've been doing for the past few weeks, is more beneficial to the course and to my learning. And I think 3 possible exercises that we could do to help me grow or more contribute to my learning experience would be maybe postures. I've always been interested in seeing how well power stances actually work, so maybe if we can do some of those and then see how that affects our performance. I also think that role-playing and experimenting with different characters and being assigned to do this and step outside of who we are and see maybe how we'd have to communicate if we were in this certain position would be helpful. And I also think more exercises where we'd have to do off the cuff, kind of off the top of our head, maybe like a speed dating exercise, just to see how we connect what our first initial instinct is in reacting would be. But overall, I am really excited for what our semester has left for us and everything I've accomplished so far this semester, and it's a great course. Thank you.